Welcome back to the Wild Game Field to Freezer Butchering Series. We've already went through a couple of the quartering down the deer, and then we went through some of the tender meat with the back straps, the inner loins. Now we're going to kind of get to the nuts and bolts of things and show how to take off this front neck and deboning of the front quarters, which we did there earlier. This one here, I'm going to be using the Wild Game Processor kit, kind of an all-around, has everything that you need in that kit to do what you want to do. So I like to start from the bottom of the neck, making a cut along the bottom of the esophagus and start to peel this neck off from the neck bone, just following the neck bone around. And I like to do it this way so I can take the whole neck off all in one piece. That way if I want to do a rolled neck roast, I have it all there as an option, all in one piece together so I can roll it up. So I'm using slight pressure with this left hand, and again, just following the bone curvature around. We've got some flank meat here that we'll clean up. There's a little more towards the front of the deer. As you can see, this is where the deer was shot, which generally are. But we peel this off from here, and we can get some meat out of here too for trim, for burger and stuff down the road. We're just gonna set that in a pile here to clean up later if we need to. So I'm gonna flip this around. And so you can see I've got this neck muscle peeled this far, and I just kind of lay it over and keep following this around, all the way around the whole neck bone, and we'll go back to the throat and the bottom, and then we can pull this all off here in one piece. The neck roast is something that gets overlooked a lot. It's something that you can put in the crock pot, slow cook it all day. You can do shredded venison. You can add your favorite barbecue sauce to it or whatever you want to do. But that makes a nice, hearty, big chunk of meat there. There's a tendon that lays down in the top side of it, on the top side of the neck. We'll go in and peel that out of there. You don't want to have that in there, real tough, gristly tendon in the top of there. We'll just make sure we clean that out of there, and then we can clean some more meat off of that later. We'll put it in the trim pile to the side. I just want to show you quick how to roll this up. And again, get rid of any fat as much as possible that's in there. That's where you get your gaminess. You got a little bit of blood clotting and stuff here. But see, now we can roll this up and we can cut it into halves or whatever we want to do to put this in a crock pot, depending on family size. But you can see the nice cut of meat there. It's a nice, good piece of meat to throw in the crock pot for an all-day slow cook with your favorite barbecue sauce. Again, there's not a lot here because of this. You can see the injury has made quite a trauma there, but we'll still set it aside and we'll go through that and clean that up later. I'm gonna move this carcass out of the way. We've got that pretty well cleaned up. So now we'll get into these front quarters. So there's a big chunk of fat right off the front side of this corner, and we're just going to take that off from there right out of the gate, and we'll clean up some of the meat that's on the top of that. There's a big gland in there. But you can feel, if you go to the top of this knee joint right here, you can feel there's a blade in here that runs into this shoulder blade that sticks off from that scapula. And you just kind of make a straight cut down that, and then you'll find your knife will go right to the edge of the shoulder blade, and then just kind of follow that blade around. And again, we can take this whole piece off for the most part in one piece. In the front side of this leg here, you have what's called your English roast, which is another good roast for throwing in a crock pot or however you like to prepare it. It's a pretty good size. This is a 1.5-year-old buck, and it's a decent size roast, or if you have a bigger family, you can net a couple of them together. But or if you're not going to do a roast, all of this is going to be like for your trim for your burger, or if you want to make your favorite summer sausage or snack sticks or whatever. Any of this trim, that's what that can be used for. And we'll just kind of clean it all off from here like we're doing here and follow the bones around. And basically just separating it anywhere you can and trying to, again, always keeping as much fat out of the meat as you can. That's where all your gaminess comes from. Pull off the shank meat down here. It all comes off, just follow the bone down. The front side, we'll repeat that. So just like that, another piece there. So we've pretty well got this cleaned up, got most of the meat off from here. We can come back and clean that up a little bit later, a little more, but I want to show you this English roast that sits in here. We'll peel some of this around the top, and he did get through that shoulder right there with that arrow, but kind of give you an idea of what you got. If there wasn't this wound right here, you've got a pretty good, a sizable chunk of meat. Once it's cleaned up and get the blue meat off from there, this gives it a little tougher feel to it. So there again, a nice size little rolled English roast that you can throw in a crock pot or prepare it, you know, bake it, however you want to do it. And that makes a nice roast, and or again, trim meat for a burger. All of this front shoulder can be utilized for trim for your burger or your sausage. So that was series 3 and series 4. We're going to get right to the meat of things. We're going to go after the hindquarters. I'm going to show you how to break down each muscle in the hindquarter and go over cutting steaks, and not necessarily cutting steaks. Maybe you want to leave the primal meats whole. That's another way that we'll get into that in this next series. Again, thanks for watching. We're looking forward to your comments and answer any questions that you might have out there to make you a better at-home processor.